Hello, everybody, and welcome to the pre-launch party on the Spotlight Indie channel. Hello to everybody who's here already. Hello, Lady Cake. Very nice to see you. Hello, Spectacle Cat. Hello, Kieran. And hello, Devan. It's time to party. So thank you for joining us. And to everybody else who's tuning in and watching live, great to have you. We are, of course, here to celebrate the one and only LL MacRae. Lauren, hi. How's it going?
Hello. This feels really weird. It feels like you know, when you go to like a restaurant for your birthday and then everyone starts singing and the waiters all start singing and then other people start clapping and then everyone's just staring at you. That's what this feels like right now.
We'll hold the singing till later, Lauren. Don't worry.
Like this is a party in terms of like cake and a gathering of people and maybe something to drink, but I said nothing about singing.
Oh, I had the launch day song rehearsed and everything.
Ungzu, really, I hope I haven't, I probably have butchered your name. I apologize, but hi. Yeah, the other people that we got joining us, well, I should probably say hi as well. I'm Frasier Armitage, part-time robot, full-time nerd, host of this channel, blah, blah, blah. But we also have two amazing people here who have come to join us and to party on down with us at this pre-launch party for Lauren's third book, Olivia Hofer. Olivia, how are you doing?
I am great. I was hiking in the Swiss mountains today. I caught the sun, but not too much. And so I'm actually quite tired, but I am excited to be here for the book.
Yes! Which is a good job. There's no dancing that's too formal. It's just upper body stuff. So you'll be okay for that if your legs are tired out.
That should be fine.
That's good. And Faye, books and chocoholic. That's how everyone knows Faye. How are you doing?
I'm good. I am just hyped to be here. I've been waiting for this book for what feels like all eternity. So I'm just glad to be here.
I hope it's worth the wait. And can you imagine waiting for all eternity? That's a long time, right? Why have you kept us waiting so long, Lauren?
I mean, that's how it's like writing it, though, waiting for all eternity.
I mean, I got an arc of the first one. So I got the first one before it came out. That's how long I have been waiting to see where this series is going to go. I'm a binge reader. I binge books. This was a very big exception for me. And I've been waiting so long.
Speaking of you writing so long, Lauren, this is your 8th year as an author, right? Yeah. So what's it been like for you, the journey between sort of newbie Lauren and Lauren now?
I still don't feel like I know what I'm doing. I still feel like I'm just winging it, to be honest. That being said, I would never have even had the foresight to put something like this together way back when, because the idea of a pre-order party existing, just it was that just wouldn't have occurred to me. Same thing for the bookish community too. Over the years, when you release books and hopefully people start to read them and then talk about them, you realize that there's actually a whole community out there. And I had no idea about its existence at the very beginning. It was Olivia that told me about SPFPO when I think I just had one book out. I might have had two, but it was definitely in the very, very early days. And that was my first kind of inkling that there was a whole community out there. And then from SPFPO, I kind of realized there was book Twitter and Facebook groups when we all used to be on Facebook, and now Instagram and Blue Sky and whatnot. So learning that there is a huge amount of support out there from people that aren't writing books is really, really nice. That's probably one of the biggest things that's changed. You think that writing is very lonely. And well, it is in the sense that you're just the one that's putting the words out there. I feel so much less alone now than I ever did before. I mean, when I asked Faye about, would you maybe possibly, if it's not too much out of your way, be interested in coming to this? And Faye was like, oh my God, yes. It literally my heart went a bit, because I'm like, oh, you do, you want to. it's really nice. So yeah, that's a huge shift from when I started. I mean, I guess it's always been there. I just didn't know about it until a couple years in.
You found your people, Lauren. How good is that?
I have. Yeah, I really have. And I'm so grateful for everyone. Like, all of the support all throughout today has been amazing. Because today was like the public reveal of the cover. But everyone that was on my newsletter saw it on Friday, and people on my Patreon have seen it for a little bit longer. And the support has just been phenomenal. And everyone is just like celebrating with me. And it's like, oh, wow. Once upon a time, only I would care about this thing. But actually, no, there are people that are as excited as I am and want to see it succeed and want to read it and can't wait for it to be done. And in the same way that I can't wait for it to be done. So it's really nice. Yeah.
We've had 2 hearts from Lady Cake. That's the first, and that's the second. So, you know, whatever you're saying, Lauren, is just going straight into the hearts of your readers. I love it. Evening Tinsleys, hope you're doing well. Hope you're chilling out and relaxing and chilling out and maxing and all of the things that rhyme with axing. Hello, Tim. Great to see you. Congratulations, Lauren.
Yeah.
Speaking of this series and the Dragon Spirit series, you saying, Faye, that you went all of the way back to get an arc of book 1. Can you remember what it was like reading book 1 way back when?
I actually can. Like, it was one of the first, because I was still very new myself at that point. I think it came out in 2020, right?
20. Yeah, it was. Fuck, it was 2020.
Yes. So I was really new. And I had a few authors reach out to me for reviews and stuff. And I'd been interested, but I'd kind of been doing the accept because I'm new and things are being offered to me and I guess I should give it a go. But I hadn't joined to become that kind of reviewer. And then Lauren reached out and I was like, yeah, okay, I'll give it a go. And that was the first arc that I got that I remember being like, I could make my whole personality this book. I kept raving about it because it was so different. Like, it was what I was looking for in indie. A lot of indie was more something different. It wasn't just, we're not traditionally published because the publisher doesn't want to publish us. It's we're doing something that the publishers can't market. They can't pigeonhole us.
Yeah.
And I always found that with Lauren's book, it did exactly what I wanted from indie. That was the point of me reaching out to indie in the first place, was to find something that was different, that was new, that you couldn't just slap a label on. And I found that. And hers was the first book that I remember just being like, oh my God, yes, this is what I've been looking for.
Oh.
Yes, that's awesome. What about you, Olivia? Do you remember like the moment you picked up the Iron Crown?
I mean, when I first saw bits of the Iron Crown, it was notes. So yes, I do remember. I remember I was so excited about the Dragon Spirits. And I always enjoy what Lauren does with dragons, and the way she doesn't just take them in like the traditional way, but she always does something very interesting. And I love the idea of domains and them having those domains, and some of them being a bit like mischievous and doing like the cursing people and creating swamps where there shouldn't be swamps. And so I was so excited to work on this because of that Dragon Spirit concept.
Yeah, that's so cool. We had the guys in the chat like fact checking us, guys, like no pressure, but like Rachel says that
Rachel.
heard Faye rave about the books in a few videos. So yeah, thank you Rachel for telling us the truth about Faye. I appreciate that. And Rowena, yeah, can't believe Iron Crown was 2020.
Yeah,
that's
a long time ago. Like it feels like it's really recent because it's the series I've been focused on like in recent memory, I guess. So it doesn't feel like it was 5 years ago. But then some people think that they're coming out really, really quickly. I had a comment today saying, you're finishing the trilogy already. I thought we were going to have to wait another year for the third book. So
That is because you told us that we would be waiting another year, to be fair.
Okay, yeah, fair. Maybe I was just giving myself that extra buffer of time in case I hit a wall that I couldn't get over. Yeah, but it's kind of interesting what you said, Faye, about like trying to be less easily pigeonholed, but then that gives you the creative freedom to really tell the stories that you want to tell with the kind of characters that you want to explore and develop. Like, I know you've mentioned that Khalidra is your favorite character. I think Olivia is the same as well, to be honest. And she's
yeah.
I don't even know if she's my favorite yet. I like them all equally. But writing a character like her is you're kind of walking a fine line between endearing and annoying and understandable and traumatized. So writing those kinds of stories literally would not be possible for me without Olivia being able to literally page by page be like, this is how you can like bring out the best of those characters in this way. Like Olivia has always understood the types of characters that I want to portray and helped me kind of like mold them in the best light. Like you can really see that with book 2 as well, when the development kind of goes off the scale. So yeah, just being able to write those things, having an editor like Olivia to help me make the best of those things, and then readers like you that actually find it, that's just that's the triple success.
That's the dream.
Yeah.
So what's the secret, Olivia, between sort of like giving Lauren feedback to make her stories genius? What is the process between you guys? Because I imagine like if you see them when they're notes, you're heavily invested in the project right from day one, right? So tell us about what that's like.
So I would say, so first of all, I have to say that when she started writing book 3, because I love Khalidra, I basically told her that if she kills Khalidra, I'm quitting. So in fact, that was immediately the threat. I was like, don't you dare. For me, I think we work very well together. I think we really understand each other. So I usually get very early on what she's trying to do. And sometimes when you write, everything's there, but you can't quite see it, and you're a bit lost because you're trying to construct this chapter in a way that makes sense, where the tension is there, everything is in the right order, the characters have natural interaction, and it's sort of all quite there, but you don't know how to bring it together. And that's where it really helps when someone can just read through it and go, have you considered swapping these 2 scenes? Have you considered bringing this in earlier? This should come in later, you know. And I have noticed that sometimes Lauren doesn't want to share too early because she wants to figure it out herself. And then there will inevitably be the point where she's like, can you take a look? And then it will take 5 seconds of her looking at my notes, and she will say, oh. And then she has it figured out. And sometimes it's not even my suggestions. Sometimes my comments just spark another idea, where she's like, actually, I know how to fix this. And then I see what she's done with it, and I'm like, that is so much better.
I love that. I love the collaboration aspect of it. It's so good. It's so good. I also realize how when Rachel introduced herself to the chat, that's kind of like the perfect emoji for like the very beginning of the Iron Crown, right? Because it's like, hello, dragon. Like, Seba, hello. Very excited about Seba's very excited about book 3. And Lady Cake thinks that you write fast as well, Lauren. So well done. And I put that up really fast. Did you notice that? That was so meta, like really fast. So yeah, I kind of feel like, you know, your original pitch for the Iron Crown, because I went back and read them today on your blog, Lauren, and it was like, Fenn's first and only memory is finding himself in the middle of a forest, face to face with a dragon spirit mocking him, all knowledge gone apart from his own name. I was like, that's basically Severance with a dragon. That's like, you should so be getting on the Severance bandwagon, selling this book. It's amazing. Because basically, like you wake up, you're there, you don't know very much. Boom,
You
dragons.
should have been lying on a table.
Yes.
Yeah, it could have been like face down in the
Yeah.
swamp instead. That would have been like the perfect parallel. Yeah. Because I think the reason I went with that was when I was originally kind of like coming up with the next series idea, it was going to be a portal fantasy originally. So Fen was going to be like just from our world and then somehow end up in this other magic drenched world. And then his whole thing was still to get home to his family, but just in a more literal sense. But I think portal fantasies, I don't want to say they have a bad rep, but I think a lot of people tend to be a bit put off by them because they can be fun, but it can also lead to, I don't want to say lazy writing, but like writing shortcuts where everything becomes info dumped on you because, you know, you have to explain this whole new world and nobody knows how it works, that kind of thing. So I went with the amnesia trope instead, which does still have a bit of a stigma. But yeah, that's also a difficult line to write because of, I don't know how much to say about because of spoilers, but because of how book 2 ends, Fen is in a very different place mentally in book 3. So that's going to be an interesting thing to explore for me in terms of how to write that, and then what readers think of this different Fen. This is really hard to say without spoiling anything.
Well, I was going to ask you a question about that without giving spoilers, but what I was going to say is if Fen had been told what his journey was going to be in book 3 at the point that he wakes up in book 1, what do you think his initial reaction would have been?
Oh God, that's a question.
That's a good question.
Yeah, I have nothing.
I have
to
one
say.
every like 10. There's like 9 bad ones and then one good one just randomly throws its way in there. But like...
I think I would have remained in the swamp. I would have said, I'm just going to stay here.
Yeah, he goes through a lot, bless him. Especially in the second book, he kind of goes through the ringer. Whether or not it's all worth it remains to be seen. I think if you ask that question where he is maybe later in book 3, it might be a different answer to right now. Book 2. That's I'm gonna have my brain is gonna like subconsciously I'm gonna wake up at 3 a.m. with that. I have an answer for that.
You're welcome, Lauren. You're welcome. With regard to some of the, because we mentioned before about how this is like much less conventional than like a typical sort of, you know, dragon fantasy series. With when you're playing around with that, I wanted to come over to you and ask you, Faye, about, because obviously like you as a reader, you're reading a lot of stuff. So like, what's it, you know, when it comes to like other people who are tuning into this, who love Lauren's way of writing and who might be writers themselves, as a reader, just tell us what you love about this like non-conventional approach to what Lauren's done with this series.
Well, I think that I'm big on world building and themes. I know that there's always the idea that you're a character-driven reader or you're a plot-driven reader, and I am both, and I am neither. I am themes and world, and I want to know where I am and why I'm here, kind of thing, more than anything else. And therefore, I think for readers like me who really are in the fantasy sphere, for escapism, but also for an alternate version of our reality. So it's still discussing things. It's not just escapism blindly. I can read a middle grade for that, you know? It's escaping our world and watching someone else's problems instead. And I think that Lauren did a really good balance of creating this level of almost whimsy with these dragons, this really creative and innovative approach to this world building, and still making it a place that we would want to go visit in a way. But at the same time, it's not all fluff. Like there's depth to it, there's meaning to it, there's meaning behind the world building and the story. Like both are important. And I think that a lot of authors, when it comes to fantasy, they kind of drop one or the other. It's either like loads of world building, but just for the sake of it, or there's a lot of themes, but I'm not really immersed because all you want to do is have a conversation instead of the escapism part. So I think Lauren did a really good job of balancing the two in a way that I I really engaged with, obviously, given how much I like the book. I think also, probably due to Olivia, I think that a lot of it being so concise and really easy to get immersed. It's not pages upon pages upon pages of descriptions, and yet it's one of the most visceral series that I've read. I think that has worked out really well as a series, because it's given me everything I want and I'm not bored while reading it.
Yes, I love it. Spectacle Cat says, who, by the way, Spectacle Cat, genius name. It's a top tier beginning hook. Love how the series started. Ungzu, I'm so sorry if I'm butchering it. I'm doing my best. Agrees with Spec. And Rachel has only heard of your series recently, thanks to Faye, but can't wait to give it a try. It sounds exactly up her alley. And if that is true of anybody else listening into this, if like people have maybe not had a chance to catch up with the series, or they may be wanting to pre-order the third book, which they can do now. Woo! Tell me, Lauren, how do people go about doing that?
God. Well, firstly, I kind of want to cry because of what you've just said, Faye. Because no, in a good way, because it's like when you write stuff, it's like you're being very vulnerable and you just hope that someone gets it. Whether they like it or not is by the by. Obviously, you hope people like it, but not everyone will. But you just want to be understood. And I feel like you just kind of like understand what I'm trying to do with my writing. And it's just, yeah, it's really lovely. So thank you so much. What was your question, Fraser? Something about where it can be bought?
Yes,
Okay.
because like I love that you're just not. It's like pre-orders release today, and Lauren's like, yeah, let's not talk about that. Like,
but my brain is mush. Like the days and sort of last 2 weeks leading up to today, I've been so. I don't want to say stressed, but I have been stressed, but just like on edge, I think. Because I'm like, I hope it works. I hope I have this set up in time. I hope all the links work. I hope everyone likes it. You never want to post out to crickets, you know? So it's kind of, my brain is just mush at the moment. So I apologize. But basically, recently, if you've been anywhere near the bookish sphere, you know, there's been a huge amount of discourse on like buying direct from authors, about the changes that Amazon is making to the ebooks to prevent you from being able to move them to other devices, whether or not you even own the ebooks that you buy from Amazon. So I've always had a focus on buying direct. So all my paperbacks you can always order from my website. That's been the same since day one. It's the same with The Broken Sword. So you can pre-order that paperback on my website now, and it will be a first edition from the first print run. But I came out of KU, I want to say a year or 18 months ago. So you can also buy the ebooks on my website. They're cheaper than on Amazon, and they always will be. And then when you buy an ebook from me, you'll get an email from BookFunnel with a link. So you can either read it on BookFunnel's website, or you can download it and you can put it on any device you want. They're DRM-free files and you own them forever. If you prefer Amazon, and I understand the convenience of it because it's just one click, you can also pre-order the ebook on Amazon, only the ebook, not the physical, but it is more expensive than on my website. So I have been pushing just all my direct links today, and I think I'm going to continue doing that. If people desperately want it on Amazon, it's there, it's linked. But I'm just like, please, if you can support direct, it means the world. So everything on my website, which is just llmacrae.com. I think you put a link in the description, Fraser.
I did. It's all down there. It's like, it's how professionally YouTube is that? Like, see the link in the description. Like, I've never
like and subscribe.
Yeah, guys, like and subscribe. Do
like
it.
And subscribe.
It's great.
Also, if you have read book 1 and 2, but maybe a while ago, obviously Iron Crown came out quite some time ago, there is a summary of both the Iron Crown and the Shadowgate on my website as well. So don't worry about trying to remember who's who, where's where, what's what. It's there. It will be in the book as well, but it's on my website right now if you want a refresher at any point before the book comes out.
Big round of applause for Rachel. Well done, Rachel.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
you know what? We should probably just like let everybody go to your website now and buy it. Let's just be. This is the time where we should
Silence.
break out in song, right? Just for Lauren. Well, everyone goes and does that, right? That would be perfect.
Oh God.
I want to talk about the cover, right?
Mm.
I've got it here. I hope this works. This is something I've never tried on this studio thing that we've done before. I've never tried adding like an image onto this stage. So. Oh yeah, Rachel. Yeah. That's exactly what we
pause
want.
for patching.
Yeah. That'll be the thumbnail that gets held. Make an interesting pose, everyone. Yeah. So I'm gonna add this to this. Hopefully, this might take over all the screens or just mine. I don't know. There it is. Boom.
Yay!
How cool is that?
Yeah.
Yeah. As an editor, Olivia, when you see a cover like that, how do you feel? Like, it must be satisfying, right, to know the outside of the book is as good as the inside?
It is wonderful to see covers. In general, like cover reveals are always so exciting. I love covers. I sometimes buy books just because I love the cover. So it was. I was so happy to see how amazing this sword looks. Like, it's just so amazing. It's such a great cover. But all 3 covers in this series are just they're absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah. Although, Olivia, you need to take credit because so in case you don't know about cover art, you can, go to an illustrator and have something, completely custom. Or if you are a bit more on a budget, a lot of cover designers will have pre-mades. So they'll just create something and you can be like, oh yeah, I really like the look of that, colors or whatever. And then you work with them as their template and then you change it for your series. So this was a pre-made cover and Olivia found it. This is actually for the Citrine Key, the prequel novella, because that came out first in 2019. And Olivia saw the pre-made cover that this designer had created and sent me a link to it. And I was just like, I love the gold, I love the teal and the contrast. And I bought it. And then that became the design for the series. So it only looks like this, literally on the inside and on the outside because of Olivia. I feel like the middleman in this. Like, she's done so much of the work.
Yeah. Why isn't your name on the cover, Olivia? It's just like you did all the work on this. Why were you doing this for Lauren? It's like.
To be fair, her name is on the inside of the cover. So. Yeah.
No, it's great. It's great. This is when we find out that really Olivia's written the whole thing and Lauren's just her persona. This is the.
No, she is actually the writer, which, every now and then she will say to me, actually, can you write this for me? Because it's really hard. I'm like, no, I only help.
I'm going to share some of the love for this cover, guys. So Rachel thinks it's a gorgeous cover. Ungju says, woohoo! And I assume she said it that high. Kieran loves it. Rachel thinks she loves the contrast of those covers. It's amazing. Spectacle Cat says it's so epic in every way. Ungju says that she loves the theme of all 3 covers, which, yes, absolutely. Devan says that the covers for all the dragon spirits are just fire. And Lady Cake says it's beautiful. Kieran asks a very interesting question, which is special edition when?
Oh yeah, that is an interesting question, Kieran. Yeah. I wish I had an answer. It's out of my hands somewhat, but we can hope. We can hope. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's not down to me.
I'm going to add the other graphic that's been put together, which I love, because this has like slightly more details, and it also gives you the pre-order link, right? Because look how cool that looks as a full paperback, and it gives you the release date, which matches very beautifully. Was that intentional, Lauren?
100%, yeah. Basically, I started drafting early in the year / the end of last year, and then I was looking ahead to potential release dates, and it has to be the last Friday of the month because that's when my newsletter goes out, and I always want releases to coincide with that so I don't send people more emails than they need. And April is the same. I think we get the 25th is a Friday, but it's would never have been done in time. So when I saw that it was in July, it was okay. Right, I have to have that. I have to have that. So really, that's the reason you're getting the book so early this year, because that date.
Yeah, it has to be the 25th of something.
Yeah, but now it's like next year I'm going to be looking at the 26th of months, and I'm like, I have to get a new release out then. So
Make it January. Make it January. Get it, and then you're done.
Don't say January.
All the J's. You've picked up the Iron Crown, Faye, I noticed.
Yeah, because we're talking about special editions, but the thing is that these are, honest to goodness, some of the best like quality paperbacks, and I'm sure it's because Lauren does like go to her own printer instead of doing it direct through Amazon, so they're actually like a normal size paperback for starters, but also like they're so much better bound and stuff. So like before you like all hold out for special editions, like the paperbacks are actually really nice. I just thought I'd put that out there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can see like on the title there when you moved it, the spot UV. So when the light catches it, it kind of I don't want to say glows, but it's a bit of a shine. So, and I'm a magpie, so yeah.
Yeah.
So nice.
So shiny.
Yeah.
And the same will be true of the Broken. So I just have to say, like the font as well on Broken and the K being all like looks broken.
Yeah.
I just love it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I lucked out.
Ungsu says, are you hinting that you got something new in preparation for next year, Lauren?
I don't know. I never want to commit to anything because every year I'm like, I will release at least one book or two books, and last year I didn't do anything. So if ever I can get a release on a cool date, I'll aim for that. But there's always ideas in the works, but nothing set in stone.
Have you noticed that I've left that up for a very long time?
I've noticed,
just like subliminally, just sort of sending it your way, just like. Tell us. So, can you give us a blurb for the Broken Sword and give us just some teensy little morsels that will fuel our pre-order excitement?
I was hoping you wouldn't ask anything like this.
Don't ask about the book we're launching, for goodness sake.
Well, it's the finale. So it's the last book of a trilogy. If the series continues to grow in popularity, then I'm sure I can do more stories in the world. I already have one or two shorts that I'll be doing for my patrons, so just some exclusives in the world. But as far as like full novels of this series, this will be the last one, unless I don't know someone picks it up. It's
I'll tell you the reason I ask, Lauren, because I don't want to put you on the spot.
Yeah.
The reason I ask is that if you go to Lauren's website, you'll see that there is a teensy bit of a blurb on the Broken Sword on the website as of today. So it gives you like, if you want to use that as an out, Lauren, that's all good.
I'll do that. I'll do work that I've already done before. It's also, I believe, on because the book's now up on Goodreads now that the cover's been revealed, and it's all up on Amazon now, so you can check it out on Goodreads, and the little teaser blurb is there as well. So for book 3, it says, so dragon spirits reign supreme in the magic drenched world of Tassar, where curses linger and ancient enemies rise again. The truth of Fenn's past is no longer lost, but the cost of remembering may be higher than forgetting. As war erupts and vengeful spirits awaken, the fate of Tassar will be decided once and for all. The epic conclusion to the Dragon Spirit series, a sweeping multi-POV fantasy set in a world of dragons, spirits, and cursed magic, is coming this July. So I obviously did prepare something in advance.
How good does that sound, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really hard with blurbs, especially like for sequels and final books, because you want to be able to hint at what's happening, but you don't want to like give away anything major that's happened in like book 1 or earlier books. So it's it's really tricky because I was thinking, maybe I should do like a reading, like for today, like a really short snippet, but there's literally nothing that I can say that is
Not after the ending of book 2. No.
exactly after the ending of book 2. I cannot say anything at all. And like, even if I was to take like a snippet from like a new POV character, it's still gonna be giving away too much. I will say though that the first couple of batches of chapters are with my beta readers, and everyone really, really, really likes it. The feedback has been phenomenal so far. I've been considering releasing chapter 1 for anyone that has already read the first 2 and is really like wants like just something to whet their appetite. Obviously it's not like been through the full editing process or anything. It's basically just smoothed over draft, but it's still really hooky and exciting, and I'm really, really proud of that first chapter. So I don't know whether I should release it or not, or make it available for people to download if they are interested in it.
Tell us in the comments. Tell us what you think. And while you're doing that, let's say hello to Senor Silva, who says, "Good evening, folks. Good evening. Yes, please, more stories in the world." And of course, we know this is a person who must be obeyed at all times, Lauren. So thank you for that.
Also,
Rachel?
more stories in this world means that then eventually we can get a bound up paperback of all of them. Just putting that out there into the universe.
Yes.
That would be chunky. That would be a good. That would be a.
Just saying.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to quote Rachel and say that sounds epic. That would be amazing. And there is also, Rachel says that there is a dragon-themed readathon happening this month.
Oh.
There you go. It's perfect.
Yep.
Thank you very much. And Tim, yes, you really do. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you don't have to.
No, we love Tim. Everybody knows, that we love Tim here at Spotlight Indie. I just recently did an interview on the Fanfare Addict YouTube channel with Tim, and so Tim can take it. It's all nothing but love for Tim. But yes, Tim, read it.
It should be a signed compulsory reading for the year.
Yeah, totally. You've had since like 2020 for the first one, So Olivia, you said earlier that you had been on this very exhausting hike. What I want to know is, when Lauren sent you the third book, are you more or less exhausted from your hike and climbing a mountain than you were emotionally when you got to the end of reading book 3 for the first time? Because I imagine it's like emotionally like, woo, so
I'm not sure what the right answer is here, because
I don't know if the exhausting is from the emotional beats of the story, or just like the constant back and forth and trying to fix the thing in the first place. You get to a point where you just want to yeet the laptop out the window, off of a mountain.
That's more you than me.
Well, you say that, but I'm sure, like after like the 5th time of looking at a chapter.
No, because I have to say, you always say that. You're always worried. You always ask, "Oh, is it okay? You have to read this a 4th time. Is it okay?" I love seeing it come together. That's why I love editing. I love seeing a draft go from having all the bits and pieces there, but not quite right, and then seeing it actually turn. And I love that feeling that you get when you look at it and you're like, yes, it works emotionally. And it just, I'm like feeling for these characters. I love them. I want to protect them, stop hurting them. I love that moment where you just see it come together. And you always, like, you have this way of doing magic with the words. Like, I sometimes just leave comments saying this is a bit clunky, which isn't very helpful, because you probably think, thanks, what am I supposed to do with that? But then I get it back and it's like, yes, this is brilliant. I love what you've done with this paragraph. I love what you've done with this chapter. And so it's just so satisfying to see that evolve. yeah, so no, I am not the one that wants to throw it out the window.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Pre-edit to the flow.
Yeah. It's when it does start to come together, it is a really, really nice feeling. It's like it's like a switch in your brain when it's like you're trying to I almost liken it to having a jigsaw puzzle, and you've kind of got some pieces and some of it you can kind of, oh well, these colors sort of go together and this is clearly an edge, but it's all very disparate and all very confusing, and sometimes just trying to figure out the pieces on its own is so much of a headache that you don't want to do anything with it afterwards. But then once that they start to click together and you can see the bigger picture and you can see threads like what you mentioned earlier, Olivia, about it's there, but sometimes you need to, it's a bit buried and you need to find it. Like that's when you kind of, when it comes together, you see that earlier things that you had were still there, and like the foreshadowing is there, and it clicks like, oh, these two characters know each other, or some twist or some exploration of the magic or whatever it is. When it starts to work, it's that's a very nice feeling. The downside is when I have that feeling and then I send it to you and then you're like, this doesn't work, or this needs to be fixed, or this needs to be changed, or whatever. But when I do send it to you and then you're like, yeah, this is it, that's a really nice feeling. And it makes the headache kind of worthwhile, because then you can actually see the progress, because so much of it you're just in the weeds spinning your wheels and it doesn't feel like you're making any progress. And then you kind of look back and you're like, oh no, actually I have done all of this and we are actually this far along, and oh, actually there's light at the end of the tunnel now. So
that's awesome. Kieran assumes you had to take a holiday to recover. Olivia, did you go somewhere nice?
I mean, I am currently in Switzerland because I do live in England, so you could say I am somewhere nice currently.
Amazing.
But then I have my dad, who seems to be a professional hiker, and he's already taught me all these hikes that I have to do in the next few weeks. And maybe I'll just go back to England because it's awesome.
Have a holiday from that.
Yes.
I feel like you're walking off all of that like editing work. It's like all of the many hundreds of thousands of words. It's amazing. Lady Cake, you don't have to be excused anything, Lady Cake, for a name that awesome. You get permission, free reign for anything. But Lauren, will the book be released as a sound book read by you?
So I don't do any narration because I'm not good enough for it. I've done a few like read by the author chapters, which are on my Patreon for like previous books, not this one yet. RJ Bailey is the audiobook narrator for the series so far. So he has done books 1 and 2. He's also done the Citrine Key as well, the prequel novella. And he has said that he would be absolutely up for doing the third book as and when it's ready to go to him. With the book coming out at the end of July and the paperback probably a month after that, depending on how quick the printers is, the audiobook will probably be a similar sort of time, so August, September. It depends on RJ's schedule and how quickly I get it to him, and how many words the final version is. I don't plan on it being any longer than books 1 and 2. It's probably going to be solidly between those two. So an audiobook will definitely happen. It will just be narrated by a professional who actually, can do the voices and can do all of the tension and the emotion and everything, because the audiobooks are fantastic. RJ's done a fantastic job. When we released the audio for books 1 and 2, he did do a reading. So I'll see if he can maybe be persuaded to do something similar for book 3 ahead of that release, but it won't be until later this year.
Awesome. And what I'm going to do is I've got a question I want to ask Faye, and then I've got a question I want to ask you, Lauren. And while I'm asking those questions, Devan has asked an amazing question on the comments. I want to just throw it out to everybody else who's watching. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being here. But if you have a question for Lauren, just bosh it in the comments and we'll try and get through as many as we can in like a rapid fire question round. But I'll give you like a couple of minutes to think of a question. So first of all, Faye, books and chocoholic, right? Books, chocolate. So my brain is going into the space of, if you were to try and sum up or to try and capture the flavor of Lauren's Dragon Spirit series as chocolate, right?
Okay.
What flavor chocolate would it be? And because this is like, what I want to do is, when I'm reading book 3, I want to be sat there with the right snack. So what's the flavor chocolate that sums up the
Galaxy
Dragon
caramel.
Spirit series?
Oh god, I love you, Faye.
Oh,
Galaxy
yeah.
caramel.
Boom.
Sorry, Olivia.
Tell us why it's Galaxy Caramel.
Well, because Galaxy's like sweeter than a lot of the other ones, like than Cadbury's or whatever. And there is that tenderness to the book. Like there is the sweetness of the characters. And then the caramel, because it's gooey inside, and when you read the series you become gooey inside. So there you go.
I love it.
I need to put that on my CV, like likened to Galaxy Caramel chocolate.
No,
That's
it's the caramel galaxy of it. The caramel galaxy. What am I talking about? It's the Galaxy Caramel of books. That's like the marketing thing. And as a blurb on the front, you should just put Faye Books and Chocoholic. When you read it, you go gooey inside. That is such a good blurb quote, right?
If I could like post food, I would ship like a bar of Galaxy Caramel with every paperback pre-order. if I could, I'll have to like maybe do a photograph instead, because it would not survive transit, especially if it was going internationally. But that would be such a cool idea, like book and a snack, like when you get those book boxes and like our press and whatnot. That would be so cool.
The people at Nestle who are listening to this, make a little broken sword Galaxy Caramel special edition thing.
Go for it. Do it.
Out, right? Yeah, do it, please. Lauren, my question for you is, because this is a pre-order party, right? How much, as an indie author specifically, does having a pre-order period and seeing the pre-orders coming in, how much does that mean to you and your writing, and especially you as an indie author?
Well, pre-orders are really, really useful for a couple of reasons. If you're talking about on Amazon, then it helps with the ranking, and then the better a book's rank, the more likely Amazon is to push it to people. So it then helps with more orders coming through. And so from a strictly like financial business sense, that is really, really good. When you buy direct, it helps me more because I'll get more of the sale, but it's not going to help visibility in any way, shape, or form. So however people want to pre-order is useful and beneficial and greatly appreciated. When I see all of the orders come through, it makes me, it's kind of like a double-edged sword. I'm really excited and happy that people actually want it enough and have stuck with the series and liked it enough to pre-order it. But then there is also the added pressure of delivering a book that kind of, everyone is very excited about this. And I hope that I deliver a book that is worthy of that excitement. So I always have that kind of in the back of my head. But actually, I wanted to just double check quickly, because I think I'm now, basically, I've been getting loads of pre-orders since my newsletter went out, and I'm only like 20 books off of the number of pre-orders I had for Shadowgate. So I might surpass Shadowgate pre-orders with The Broken Sword, which is unbelievable. Because that means that people that have since read the book since I've released them like them enough to follow me and then pre-order the last one. So yeah, it makes the difficult days worthwhile, because you're not waiting for ARC reviews, you're not waiting for actual reviews from when people have bought it. You have faith in me to deliver an ending to the series that you want to read, so you're putting your money there, and that's just it's you always hope, but you never want to expect. It's been really, really amazing so far. So yeah, it means a lot. It really, really does. And to all indie authors, I'm sure.
Let's break some records. Everybody who's listening, right? Let's squash book 2. Let's just make it so book 2 looks like flimsy and rubbish by comparison with pre-order. We can crush it. Come on, guys. Let's get past these like next 20 and like absolutely smash it. That's amazing.
Thank
Right.
you.
Double it.
Everybody. Yes. Yes. Come on. Let's do it. And then if you're like really lovely and you want to give Lauren the lovely feels of, you know, you've got confidence in me, pre-order. And if you're really mean and evil and you want to give her imposter syndrome, then pre-order it. So it works for everyone. You know?
You're not wrong.
Yeah, this is true.
Thank you for people for thinking of questions and sending them in. We're going to go to Devan's first because Devan's is brilliant. And everybody is, but like that was the first that came in that was right. So Devan, which of the 3 books was hardest to write and to edit? So let's go to Olivia first. Which of the 3 books was hardest to edit? And then we'll ask Lauren which was the hardest to write. And then I'm not going to ask Faye which was the hardest to read.
Very, very, very
Rude.
good question, because I'm torn between 1 and 3. Because in 1, you have to set everything up. And you have to be mindful of not having like info dumps and having the start shouldn't be too slow. The characters have to be introduced in a way where people get them and are interested in them, but like without having the impression that you're just doing introductions for several chapters. You have to explain the world, you have to explain the story. Like there is so much set up in book 1, and that makes it really, really hard to get the tension right. But book 3, everything has to come together, and like every arc has to have some kind of ending, and there shouldn't be any loose ends, and you can't forget about anything that like you've set up. And you have to like, you want to bring it together in a satisfying way. And I think that bit is really hard, but I would say from an editing point of view, it is book 1 to get that introduction right and get that tension and everything right without making it like too long or boring or too slow.
That's really interesting. I love that. I've never written a series, but knowing that book 1 is the one that you have to get, it makes sense, right? Because if you don't get book 1 right, then you don't get books 2 and 3. So yeah, that's really interesting, Olivia. I love it. Go on, Lauren. You've had some seconds. So yeah, which was the hardest for you to write? See,
weirdly, it's kind of the reverse, because for me, book 1 is the fun one, because you're just throwing whatever idea you want and introducing whoever you want. Oh yeah, that seems like a good idea. We'll worry about the ending later. That's a tomorrow issue. So book 1 is the easiest to write, and I'm sorry, it's the hardest to edit. Book 2 is difficult because you have to expand on everything you set up without writing yourself into a corner. I've always struggled with book 2s. Like book 2 of my debut series was the hardest to write as well for me. And book 2, you wanna raise the bar, and you don't, there's middle book syndrome is a thing. Every reader will say they've encountered multiple series where the second book just kind of drags, and I really didn't want that. So I put in a lot of stuff that maybe you wouldn't expect of a second book. Maybe you'd expect it in a finale. So I've raised the bar massively with book 2, but it was very difficult to get that in a balanced way. Book 3 isn't. It's difficult, but in a different way, because there's so much kind of looking back at the previous, like what was said, not forgetting about anything, like Olivia just mentioned, and making sure everything can be sort of tied up. So I've never written a finale before. This is my first one. So I'm still going to say book 2 was the hardest to write, I think, overall. But I mean, there's different reasons of difficulty, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I love it. Faye, I want to riff on this question and ask you something, because obviously you read so many books and you have such a big love for them. You'll also be reading like lots of trilogies all of the time. Do you have like because of you being a binge reader, do you have like a generally like a favorite sort of in a trilogy, are you most looking forward to like a book 1 or a book 2 or a book 3? Which of you is the one that really sort of like captures you and your sort of like passions as a reader?
I don't know. I think obviously when you're reading a trilogy, the whole idea is to try and get something out of each one, and they're all different. So obviously in the first book, you want to go in and you don't want to feel like the first person at a new office dinner where you're going around and you're being introduced to everyone and you're expected to remember everyone's names and you feel really uncomfortable and you don't know anyone and you don't want to be there and you want to be at home. That's not what you want from a book 1, right? So you want to go in and you want to get to know everyone organically, and you want, the over time and in a way that it's not just you've been dumped with all of this stuff, good luck, remember it later. So I think with book 1, as Olivia said, there's a lot of setting it up. With book 2, loads of trilogies have middle book syndrome. It's a thing. So with book 2, what I'm mostly looking is for purpose. It needs to be more than just it bulking up things. So many book 2s, their only purpose within the narrative is to transition you from we know these people to there are stakes that need to be concluded. So book 2 normally is just to amp up the volume, and it therefore loses something sometimes if the authors don't go about it the right way. So that can be the trickiest one, but I think book 2 actually has the best payoff if it is done well, because that is the consolidating. Obviously, book 3 is normally where all the action happens. Everything is really exciting and it's all va-va-voom. But if you haven't got any emotional payoff from that, it doesn't mean anything. So book 2 can actually be almost the most pivotal book at times, because it's the one where you're consolidating book 1 so that book 3 is meaningful. So a well-done book 2 can actually be a favorite. But obviously they're rarer. And in that case, just, the big flashy fireworks at the end of book 3 will be the exciting one.
That's amazing advice for all the Spotlight indies and the creators who are tuned in. That's like your blueprint for series writing. That's amazing. Lauren, I'm going to come to you. These are some quick fire questions that we're going to ask. So Anju says, which of the 3 books is your favorite? As in which part of the story, if you can say without spoiling?
In terms of story, probably most of the things that happen in book 3, the big, where the threads kind of come together and, there are the revelations and we get answers and, because it's almost been like half a mystery, like part mystery, part epic fantasy, because there's been so many questions thrown up and not too many answers given. So I think that the answers are part of the story that you get in the 3rd book is my favorite. In terms of certain scenes and like emotional things, then there's a lot that I love in book 2, like a lot that I love. So yeah, it's kind of it depends on if you want resolution or you just want spectacle.
Oh, what a great eloquent answer, Lauren. I love it. It depends if you want resolution or spectacle. Wow. Well, how would you have edited that, Olivia? I'm looking at Spectacle Cat says, who is your favorite dragon spirit from the books, if you can say?
I don't know. I like lots of them. I like the Archons because they're the really, really big ones that are the gods. And they're really cool, and they like shape the world as they move through it, and that's pretty epic. There is one a new one in book 3 who are pretty endearing. I really like her. I like the grumpy ones as well, the fickle ones, the ones that are very much like, I don't consider you at all. Why like very regal and kind of godlike, and they're always a lot of fun. Not if you get on their bad side, but so many to choose from. It's really hard. They're my children.
And another question that will be nice and easy for you. Which is your favorite character?
I don't know. I like them all for different reasons. I think if it comes down to it, really, I think Khalidra is also my favorite. There is so much of me in her, and so much of what she is who I could have been maybe if I'd had slightly different reactions to things, perhaps. there's, you always put a little bit of yourself and people in the characters that you create, but I think Cal is the one character out of everyone that I've ever written that has the most of me in her. So I think there's an affinity there, I guess. But I love them all for different reasons. I mean, Giselle is bubbly and positive and sees the good in people. Apollo is just I don't want to say like generic thief, but he's just, that typical laid back, gets like his mouth gets him into trouble and then back out of trouble, that kind of character. And he can be a lot of fun as well. And the Queen, we get to see the Queen a lot more in the third book in a lot of different ways. And she's pretty awesome too. Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you, guys. Thank you for all of your questions. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for wishing Lauren well with like the pre-orders and for getting on and pre-ordering. And thank you, Olivia and Faye, for joining us. Thank you, Lauren, for being here. I've done all of the thanks. I think thank you, Mum. Thank you, Dad. I'm gonna
me and Frasier for hosting us.
Oh
Yes.
yeah. Pleasure, anytime. What I just want to do is just go around and just tell everybody where they can find you, and then Lauren, we're going to finish with you so you can give everybody the details once more about where they can pre-order and all of that good stuff. But Olivia, where can people find you if they want to catch up and like mine your brain over editing?
Over editing. Well, I have a website which is livhofer.com where you can find my email address and you can contact me via email. And otherwise, you will probably find me as Vinji on Blue Sky and Twitter and other places. So yeah,
Amazing.
very straightforward, easy.
I love it.
And I'm always available for questions.
Perfect. Just don't recommend any hikes that will take her up too many mountains, please. She's done that one already. Faye, what about you?
I am Books and Chocoholic on any of the socials, on Instagram, here on YouTube. I am technically on Blue Sky. It's very inactive, but I'm technically there. And on Discord.
Amazing. Thank you, Faye. And yeah, if you want Faye to sum up your book as chocolate, I'm just gonna say that
taking requests.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. That's the way. Lauren, tell us, where can people find you and where can people find the Broken Sword?
So everything is linked on my website, which is llmacrae.com. There's links to all the socials that I'm on. So currently Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky. I'm on Goodreads as well, and various small Discords. So everything can be found there in terms of contacting me. All of the books are available on my website. So The Broken Sword to pre-order as ebook and paperback. And all of my other series and books are also there. So books 1 and 2 are there. There are some special bundles. My debut series is there. If you like dragons, airships, and sky pirates. There's also swag on my website. So I have pocket dragon pins. I've got bookmarks. I've got artwork prints. Everything is basically on that hub, my website. So llmacrae.com.
That's amazing. And if you like swag, then I have just one very final little thing to tell everybody about, which is that Spotlight Indie are going to be hosting 2 giveaways. One on Blue Sky, one on Instagram. So the idea is because Spotlight Indie, we love engagement, we love community. Lauren's a big part of our community, and we love Lauren. In fact, Lauren's book recently was our very first giveaway for the Iron Crown that we ever ran. What we'd like to do is just sort of boost our community. So when we get to 100 followers on Blue Sky, we're going to be giving away a paperback. And when we get to 100 followers on Instagram, we're going to be giving away paperback. So so we've got like a double giveaway going on. So follow Spotlight Indie. You'll be able to find it on all the socials. But if you're not on those ones, follow those ones and you may be in line for a bit of swag. More details I think the details are already on Blue Sky and they will be on Instagram shortly. So just keep an eye out for that. Also, we just want to say congrats again to you, Lauren, before we go. Tufty McTavish, what a legend. pre-order placed. Thank you. Ungju, thank you. You were awesome. Glad you enjoyed it. Spectacle Cat, happy launch party. Amazing. It has been a happy launch party. And Devan, congratulations again. So yeah, thank you everybody who's joined in. Thank you guys. Any last words before we leave?
No, just thank you so much. Like it started off like spotlight on me as if it's my birthday, but it's made me feel really, really awesome and excited. So thank you both, all three of you really, because you are a fantastic host and moderator, Frasier. But Olivia, Faye, thank you so much for coming on and doing this with me. I really appreciate it a lot.
Yeah, and now we get to go and have our cake and eat it and do the pre-order. Each slice will be a click through to your web page, Lauren. It'll be like, yes, next mouthful, click, next mouthful, click. So yeah, that's the way to do it. But thank you everybody, and thank you for tuning in. And yeah, see us next time on Spotlight Indie.
Bye.